We've been in this devotion series on overcomers, overcoming temptations, overcoming challenges that we have, and using the seven deadly sins as a structure for that, but not confining ourselves to that. And today I want to talk about overcoming something that we normally don't think of as a temptation and might not be, although it's not necessarily a good thing, and that's overcoming sorrow. We live in a fallen world and hard things happen to us. We have disappointments. Sometimes we react poorly. We have a private desire, maybe you might call it a selfish ambition, and it doesn't come to fruition, and we're upset, and we cry tears over it. Or maybe worse, we throw a temper tantrum over it. How do we overcome these things? How do we get to a more productive and godly place as it relates to the things that break our hearts? Lots of things we could talk about in terms of rejecting what I would call as worldly sorrow. That's more selfish in orientation. That's tears for ourselves as opposed to tears for other people. Or being brokenhearted over something which is absolutely legitimate, the parting of friends, the death of someone we love. But how do we overcome our sorrow? It begins by acknowledging it and then doing something which may sound strange. I'm going to read a passage from Ecclesiastes that doesn't feel very intuitive, and we might even say that's wrong. What is this passage saying? Let me read. It's from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 2 and following. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness face the heart is made glad. What in the world is this saying? And there are several levels to it, to which it could apply. But what I want to talk about is just the surface level of mourning as opposed to trying to just laugh it off. The context here is that something bad has happened. How do we approach it? And the writer of Ecclesiastes is saying, look, you have to engage what's really happening here. It's better to feel it. It's better to process it. It's better to spend all your tears, go to the house of mourning, than to pretend everything's fine and go party it up as a way of distracting yourself or trying to move beyond whatever pain you're experiencing. And I think of an example of this growing up. We had neighbors down the street, and they were great folks, salt of the earth type, working class. The dad was a TV repairman, and he had children. His youngest was the same age as my oldest brother, and they were friends in high school. So we saw a lot of each other. They were just two doors down. And when graduation came for that youngest son and my brother, they went their separate ways. My brother went to college, and their youngest son went into the Marines. And then one night, a year or two later, their youngest son, was out with his Marine buddies, and they got into a car wreck and ran into a concrete wall, and they were all killed. And my brother's friend dead at the age of 19. And I remember going to the funeral, and then later to the reception. And I remember the dad's oldest daughter at the reception just kept handing him drink after drink, in kind of an attempt to lift his spirits, to pull him out of his sorrow. But the thing is, it was futile, and it resulted in some not good things in the short run, and of course it can lead to terrible things in the long run. We can't keep people from experiencing sorrow. We have to move through it. We must move through it. It's better, more healthy, to go to the house of mourning than the house of feasting. We have to process our heartbreak. And of course, We can do that if our trust is in Christ. We can do that in hope. I know some people are afraid to start crying because they think if they start crying, it'll never stop. What hope is there that if we let the pain in, that it will ever leave? But in Christ, we have this great hope that, as it says in Matthew 5, the blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. We have this promise from the Revelation, in Revelation 21, that he will wipe away every tear from our eyes. Behold, I'm making all things new. And the idea of that is that, yes, there's heartbreak in this world, there's death, but God redeems that in the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, that all things will be made new. There is a reason for tears, so cry them. Even if it's the death of a selfish dream, let's acknowledge that and say, yeah, this is really about me and my disappointments with life. But bring that to the Lord. Spend your tears, move through the grief in the hope that we will be comforted ultimately by the promise of redemption that we see realized in Christ's resurrection. We can mourn, but we will mourn in hope that God will turn our grief to joy. I hope you have that hope as you experience the inevitable sorrows of this life. And in so putting your hope in Jesus, you can overcome those sorrows. Blessings on you all.